Hey friends, today we're going to work on the Nativity Door Hanger. This is such a beautiful piece from Christina at the Rust Covered Cottage. So I'm going to put my smaller pieces on my sticky board and kind of categorize them by what I want to paint them with. And I'm going to go in with the last little bits of my Dyke brown antiquing glaze and give the backboard a light coat as well as the manger. Then I'm going to set that aside to dry. I wanted the manger to be a little bit darker, so I got the very last in my container and kind of gave that a second coat. Now I'm going to go in with Paint Couture's mineral acrylic in the color French Rose for baby Jesus's face. Put that aside to dry, and then I am going to go in with Spanish Sunrise, another mineral acrylic from Paint Couture, and I'm going to use this it is actually an ombre nail polish tool, and it just holds a little sponge, gives it a nice little handle. So for little pieces, it's really good for applying your paint. And I applied that to the halo and the star. I did the star string, but I'm going to go in later and repaint that because I decided I wanted it something else. Now I'm going to go in with Autumn Sage on the greenery at the top, and I am using a makeup wedge for that one. And then I'm going to use FolkArt. This is the color Barn Door. I love this kind of taupey brown. Just reminds me of, like hemp and stuff. It's just a really good neutral. And I did paint the string for the star with that. And giving a second coat to my yellow. And then that should be enough. And then I'm going to put a layer of Pacific Pearl over the swaddling, and then I do my second layer of Autumn Sage with that makeup wedge, using a couple of makeup wedges. I'm really starting to like using those to paint with, and giving that second coat of that barn door on the bow and the string and the hay. And another coat of Pacific Pearl, and let that dry. And now I'm going to go in with FolkArt Crackle medium. It is extremely important that you shake, and then shake some more. If you put a thin coat, you're going to have very small crackle. If you put a thicker coat, you're going to have larger crackle. You set this aside to dry for about an hour, and when I store my bottle, I store it on its side, not standing upright. So I'm going to let that dry. I actually let it dry overnight and had no problem. So I'm going to go in with an Echo Park stencil, and this is stenciling paste from Paint Couture that I've never used before, but I really enjoyed. And it was just a pearly kind of white, and I just did a little 3D stenciling on the swaddling. And now I'm brushing Vintage Lace Luxe Metallic Paint over top of the yellow. And now I'm going to take a blending brush and just add some accents on my greenery with Basil. I love the combo of Autumn Sage and Basil together. And I'm going to set that aside to dry. And now I'm going to go in with DecoArt Americana buttercream, and I like to go heavy on my paint when I go on top of Crackle medium. I just feel like the crack shows up better, and you want to you don't want to over brush your paint when you're putting on top of the Crackle medium. If you do that, you won't have very good crackle. So that's why I didn't really try to even it up. And you can see the area down where the manger is going to go where it did not have any crackle on it at all. Now I'm just going in and adding some of my Debi's DIY dark wax just all over, and then I'm going to buff it out with a baby wipe to get it to the consistency that I wanted. I wanted to lighten it up, but I did want that distressed look on this piece. Plus it also pulls out the crackle. I'm giving that stencil paste a good dry. It was the only thing that was not quite dry yet. And then I'm going to add my Debi's DIY dark wax to that too. And so I'm just kind of rubbing. I also wanted to rub off some of the paint so I could have a couple of spots where it was down to the wood stain, just to make it extra distressed. And then I'm going to go over with Paint Couture's Dead Flat Top Coat. Takes out all the shine and gives it some protection so that it won't fall apart anymore or, you know, crackle off. Did that on all of my pieces, and then I am going to go in with my vintage lace, which I'm really loving, and I just splattered that across the background just to give it a little something extra. And I put another layer of dead flat because I kind of decided to do the vintage lace after I'd already top coated it. No problem though. You can still see the score lines where these pieces need to go on the backboard. So I'm just lining them up and wiggling them around. I'm using my art glitter glue. I love that glue because you do have some wiggle room before it sets up, which I use a lot. It also dries clear and does not leave your fingers crusty. I hate crusty fingers. Was trying to decide where I wanted the halo, and I finally decided to go ahead and set it on top of his head. And then I was looking at my ribbons. These are old ribbons that are long retired from Stampin' Up. I still love them, and I wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use, so I just started using a lot of different kinds. Tried to stay with the greens and the browns and all that, and I did 3 pieces of each. And then I'm going to lay down a piece of jute and start you know, laying out my layers. I started with my larger pieces first, and then went to my medium pieces, and then my smallest gold pieces, I put them all on the top so that they wouldn't disappear inside of the bow. And then I tied that up and then flipped it over to actually tie my knot, and then I wound the jute around so that it would have that centerpiece. And then I wasn't sure if I liked it, so when I threaded my jute to hang up the door hanger, I just kind of tied it in a shoe bow, you know, a bow tie around that jute right above the greenery. So if I decide I want to take it off, I just untie it, you know. I like the versatility of that. I did add some hairspray to the bow to make the ribbons more substantial. I love how it turned out. I hope you did too. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.